Look at you fixing your hair. Do I need to do the same?
Hey, you need to fix your hair too. I'd love to learn. There's a lot of financial firms that call themselves tax planners, and then there's tax strategists, and then there are accounting firms and accountants. Can you just explain the difference?
So usually we break things down into strategy planning and compliance. And most CPAs and most tax firms are in the compliance. And to us, they're really backwards looking folks. They're always looking at what happened yesterday, not necessarily what's going to happen tomorrow. Right. And when you get into planning, to me, planning's more of a mathematical exercise to come up with a number that says, hey, this is how much you owe. This is what your estimate needs to be. And really strategy starts becoming looking ahead, right? Just imagining what could be, not what is, but what could be. And most of these firms, particularly in planning, is that they never change the facts or try to change the facts. And the expression in strategy is always the same. Change the facts and you'll change the tax. So if we can change the fact pattern, we'll be able to change what the tax outcome is. So again, everything that's strategy is more like what could be. Doesn't mean we're going to do it, but just imagining kind of outside of the constraints of what exists today to really create something more, future looking, right? And then walk it back into planning, into the math, and then walk it back into the actual compliance, filling out tax returns.
So I want to now jump into AI, right? AI can now be our therapist. It could be our doctor. It could write our emails. Why can't it do our tax strategy and our compliance?
Well, it can't do compliance, but it will. It will soon. It will be able to do tax somewhere in the future to fill out forms. The problem that we get into when it comes into strategy and planning is there's too much gray, and not only too much gray, but very fact dependent or situational circumstances that need to be embedded for it to really give you a good idea, right? So the way that we view AI when it comes to strategy and strategy development is that it's really just augmented, right? So I call it augmented Rob. How do I really use that technology to help me isolate it down where I can give it more fact-based situational circumstances and then use that tool to really help me think through that more, right? So I don't think that AI will ever really be able to do planning or strategy. It might be able to give you some ideas, but you're going to need humans who are educated and have deep knowledge to be able to work out those details and have something executable. But I do think it's pretty soon, and hopefully from my lips to God's ears, that they actually are able to file taxes, because that's just a lot of labor.
Now, if I'm a W-2 and I'm making 600 grand a year, and that's my cap right now, what are some other ancillary ways I could increase my earning potential using tax strategies?
Yeah, and the law is not usually in favor of W-2 employees. And it's really designed more around business owners or entrepreneurs, and really it constrains that W-2 employee. And there's a lot of ideas out there. Most of those really lean more towards real estate, not necessarily long-term rental, but really short-term rental opportunities that can create tax advantage. Our hesitation and pause is always the same, is that I can create a lot of tax deduction. However, at the same time, you need to really actively manage that short-term rental. For me personally, I'd rather pay my tax because that sounds like a lot of work and not where my enjoyment is. And then also you need to be very careful that it's a good financial investment, right?
Yes.
So it's not just for tax. To me, I have the same horrible jokes that I've had for the past 40 years, which are, if you want your tax to be zero, just pay it all in accounting fees. And no one's taken me up on that yet. So I don't want to go and put a whole lot of money in real estate. That's going to be a bad investment. It needs to do that. And then tax advantage will have a cherry on top. But I do like short-term rental, setting up other active trades or businesses. But again, I think you have to buffer that a little bit with what people want to do, not just what they could do to reduce taxes.